So good morning, everyone, and welcome to our sixth grade new student orientation. My name is Rodney Arthur, I'm the principal, and I hope everyone's been having an enjoyable summer. But I look to the faces and the sounds of the voices, I guess you have. So let me begin by just introducing some very important people on my team, my leadership team. To my left, we have Mr. DeBellis, assistant principal. Good morning, everyone. Mr. DeBellis has critical role in the building, wears many hats, and he's been the longest administrator in the building, so I want to thank him for his service. Next to him, we have Mr. Calaswino. He also wears many hats. He's also the athletic director. I'm sure many of you already know him. He wears like I said, many hats, also is the chair for the 504 committee, and you'll hear from both of them as the presentation goes on. So, welcome. I know that summer has been filled with a lot of exciting things. Myself had the fortunate opportunity to take my son to the Olympic Games in Paris, which was a great opportunity. So I hope your summer has been enjoyable as mine has been. So we're going to begin with the presentation. I'm going to give a couple of minutes. Let me know if it's okay to begin. Let me know if the hallway's clear. Just look out, tell me if any more families are coming in. We good? Okay, great. So the presentation is set up to go through a number of different items. Each of you should receive a folder that has your child's name. In that folder, you should have your child's schedule. You should also have your child's agenda book. This agenda book is only given out to sixth graders, and it will be utilized in a new course that we've established called Strategies for Success. And you'll hear a little bit more about that from Mr. Calaswino later on. On the left side, you have the front sheet that really provides you a table of contents, really outlining all the important information you need to know. The top portion outlines hard copies that you have in your folder, and the bottom part lets you know what's available on our website. So just take a minute, just take a look at that, please. If you have not received the folder, please just raise your hand. Okay, great. So continuing, Dr. Goodman unfortunately could not be here today. She's taking care of another matter. Want to continue, Dr. Keel will be here shortly. He's our Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Technology. We also have a student panel. So we hear from our scholars towards the end of our presentation, and they're here because they sat where you are sitting now last year. And they will share a little bit about their experience, their questions that they're going to respond to, because next year, some of you will be sitting where they are. So we believe in allowing students to take on leadership roles. Moving on, the next item on the agenda will be a building tour, which our students will help facilitate, and there'll be lockers set up, and then that'll conclude our orientation. So this orientation is designed not just for sixth graders, but for any student that's new to our school. So before going, I want to share a little bit about my background, and we'll continue with the program. I'm a career educator. So I've been in education 30 years, 22 years as a school administrator. I've worn many hats, from being a director of special education, an elementary teacher, middle school, high school teacher, elementary administrator, assistant principal, and I've been principal in 3 different school districts. So I come to this job with experience, but with passion. I'm a father of 4. This week, 2 of my daughters started school. One is the University of Miami, the other one is at George Washington University, and my youngest child, my son, he's entering his junior year in high school. So I'm also a dad who understands the importance of education. So the passion that I come to this work is, one, because I'm the first one in my family to attend college. No one in my family before ever went to college. I was not born here. I was born actually in England. And I came here pursuing the American dream. And the one thing that has really saved me was devoting myself to education, which has given me opportunities I could not even have dreamed of. I share with my children and my students, I want to congratulate Elijah, one of our graduates from the class of 2024. So I've shared my story with students. The first time I slept in a bed was when I went to college. I grew up sleeping on a couch. So for me, education has given me a pathway and opportunities to really explore and to learn, to make connections in ways that I just could not imagine. So I share that with you so you can understand my passion. I believe education saves lives. It creates opportunities. It really changes someone's life. So I've been able to live that and be fortunate. My wife is the same thing. First person in the family to graduate from college. She has a PhD from NYU. So we are parents that feel deeply about the importance of education. So coming here, I bring that passion. I've been a principal of an international baccalaureate high school. And as you learn more about high school, you know, the highest level of courses students can take are AP classes, but for some schools, they have IB, which operates on an international curriculum. I've gone to school overseas. So I share my background because as parents, you should want to know who's leading your child's school. What is this person about? Are they passionate about what they're doing? Are they a good fit for our community? So I share that with some of my information with you, and you'll find out more because it's very important for you to know who we are. I introduced Mr. DeBellis and Mr. Calasuno because they're career educators that care deeply about children. I'm very fortunate to be on the team that they have been leading for a number of years. And together, I believe we make an outstanding team, and we care deeply about children. So enough about me. I want to go right into the presentation, but I just think it's very important that you understand who we are and what we're about, right? Mr. DeBellis, and he will share a little bit. He's a parent, he has a child in the middle school also. So we really come into this work looking at what can we do to create opportunities for students. One of the more significant things that we've done, hearing from parents, and you'll hear from Mr. Calasuno, is creating a class called Strategies for Success. Because we understand that sometimes students can be a little bit disorganized. They need to learn different study strategies or what have you. So we created a class. So that's going to go through the sixth graders. They're going to have 10 weeks of that experience. Right? We work with the middle school, with the elementary school teachers, the fifth grade teachers, to determine who should be in the class first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. So I say to parents who may say, please put my child in the first marking period, we've worked with the fifth grade teachers to really design that class to make sure we can support students throughout the year, okay? And again, you'll hear more about that class. So again, I've already introduced the leadership team. The best way to get in contact with us is email, right? If there's an emergency, certainly call the school, right? But we do respond to email. And one of the slides, you'll find out a little bit more about who does what in the building. So Mr. Sullivan, he's here. Mr. Sullivan is a psychologist for the middle high school. And I'll be remiss if I didn't say, as a leadership team, we are the leadership team for the middle high school. So Ms. DeFrancesco, she's here. You will see her in a bit. She's our middle school counselor. Ms. Devereaux is our school nurse. She's amazing. She started with us last year. We have Ms. Pinto, who is principal secretary for the high school. We have Ms. Nicolettos, who is a guidance counselor, the secretary for guidance, and Ms. Tierney, who you met outside, and Ms. Nicolettos giving out the folders. Ms. Tierney is she wears many hats. She's the attendance secretary, as well as the secretary for the leadership team at the middle school. So here are lists of our sixth grade teachers. Now I'm looking around, I see some familiar faces, so I know some of you, this is not your first time going through this orientation. So here's our sixth grade leadership instructional team. So I mentioned before that we provided a slide so you have a clear understanding of who does what in the building and who do you go to for certain situations. All this information, the whole entire slide presentation is in your folder, and I think we put it in color, right? It's in your folder, and it's also going to be posted on our website. Today's presentation is being recorded, which we'll also post on our website. So I'll give you a minute or so to just take a look at it. As you're reading it, the first week of school, our entire middle and high school will go through what's called a DASA training. DASA stands for Dignity for All Students Act. And that DASA training will be led by Mr. Calasuno and Mr. DeBellis. Mr. Calasuno is our DASA coordinator. And you'll hear more about that, but we present this information to students so all students can be aware of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. This comes directly from New York State Education Department. At this time, I'll call up Mr. Calasuno. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone this morning, and I hope everyone had a wonderful summer. So we're going to take you through what your schedule will look like this school year. So if you look from what was provided to you out front, you should have a copy of your child's schedule. If you do not, you will receive that before you leave today, okay? So up on the screen here is a layout of how our sixth grade schedule is broken up, okay? So each child's schedule is unique and a little bit different, but the generic structure is the same, right? So every child will have music, phys ed, first period, their core academic courses from periods 2 through 4. Every middle school student will have lunch period 5. Period 6 after lunch, they will have their specials. Again, that is where the schedule may vary a little bit. Our specials are offered in 10-week periods, so each quarter your child will have a different special, and that will be something that will be announced ahead of time, okay? So there will be no surprises. 7th and 8th period, additionally, we have our core academic courses. So one of the items you may be wondering about, right, when you look at the screen is you have math, science, social studies, ELA. Where does that 5th core academic course come in? In 6th grade, each student has ELA twice in their schedule, okay? So they will go to ELA twice throughout the day, okay? So up on the board is just a sample schedule, as you will see up here. A few of the items that I do want you to take notice of are all the way on the left-hand side, and this is where some of our incoming 6th graders will get a little confused, is we have what's called a 6-day cycle, okay? So we run days 1 through 6. A lot of our courses are on what's called odd versus even days, okay? So period 1 for this sample child schedule, you'll notice that all the way on the left-hand side, okay, is the expression of period 1 and in parentheses 135, okay? 135 is the day of the week, right? So out of that 6-day cycle, all right, on days 1, 3, and 5, your child will go to phys ed, right, this sample student. On days 2, 4, and 6, that child will go to chorus. So we always post the day of the cycle outside of our main office or right outside where Ms. Tierney sits. In addition, our administrators, Mr. Arthur, Mr. DeBellis, in the morning announcements will make mention of which day of the cycle it is. So you will always know we follow numerical order, and that's how our 6-day cycle moves forward. Additionally, you'll see next to that where it says term, and most of what you see says 24-25, and what that indicates is that you will have that course for the entirety of the school year, okay? If you go to period 6, which are where the specials fall, you'll notice that it's broken up by quarter, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. That is our 10-week specials block, okay? So if you have, let's say, strategies for success, Q1, you will have that class for the entirety of quarter 1. When we get to the end of quarter 1, everyone will be made aware, right? So report cards will be coming out, and we'll make sure that students know on the next day, the preceding day, they will attend art, for example, at the beginning of quarter 2, okay? So this is something that we will all be around in the hallways, especially on the opening weeks of school, to make sure that if someone doesn't know where they're supposed to be, that's okay. We're around, we will be around, our support staff will be around, and it's really why the majority of our sixth grade classes meet on the first floor of the school building, because that's also where our support staff and administrative offices are as well, okay? This year, we also took on a revamp of our middle school master schedule. So it was really something that we took a hard look at, where we had some parent feedback, some staff feedback, and us as an administrative team sat down and tried to figure out what are our goals for this upcoming school year when it comes to the master schedule. So one of the items that we first identified was that students who are in AIS did not have their grade level teacher or teacher from their grade level team as their AIS teacher. So we wanted to correct that, okay? So this year, and moving forward, an AIS teacher from the sixth grade team will be that AIS teacher, okay? So they know what's going on in the sixth grade, they're able to collaborate with their team during department meeting time, okay? Additionally, we moved all of our grade 6 specials to period 6. So previously, the specials were broken up between period 6 and period 8, which got a little bit confusing for students. So what we did was we moved all of our grade 6 specials to period 6. That allowed for a consistent schedule for students, where they didn't have to switch their specials period halfway through the year. And for our staff, it just made things a little bit easier and seamless. Additionally, one thing that we noticed was that we had over a third of our student population that was not taking any music course, okay? And we understand that every student may not like a performing art per se. So what we did was we created some general music electives, because we do feel it's very important that students are exposed to some form of music throughout their middle school years, okay? It's a time of exploration, a time of growth, and this would give them that opportunity. So every student in grades 6 and 7 will be taking a music course. In grades 6 and 7, we are implementing general music electives. So in addition to band, chorus, and strings, we also have a general music option that I believe a survey was sent to you at the end of last school year. And the sixth grade general music elective is podcasting and audio visuals, okay? And it's a very interesting course. Mr. Moore is going to be teaching it, and he's extremely savvy with technology, so it'll be, I think it'll be a great thing for our students that decide to enroll in that course. Additionally, some of the feedback that we received, especially from families, was that they felt students needed guidance or assistance with certain skills that were really necessary for success in middle school. So I'm sure some of the things coming to your mind would be things like time management, right, and organization. And so all students could use help with that. We as adults sometimes need help with that, right? So what we did was we sat down with our 5th grade teachers, we sat down with our 6th grade teachers, and we really looked at what students need in their transition to middle school and what students need to be successful in 6th grade. So what we developed was what's called a Strategies for Success course that's going to be taught by Ms. Blanchard, all right? And I'm going to talk more about that on the next slide, okay? The last item for our scheduling was creating a new special in our 8th grade curriculum. So when the students get to 8th grade, we did implement a public speaking course. It's really comes off of our middle school debate team, which is so successful. It's one of the points of pride in our middle school, and I would encourage everyone to get involved with our debate team if that's something that you're interested in. But we really wanted to build on those successes. So what we did was we implemented a public speaking course that's going to be taught by Mr. O'Connell, who is actually one of the debate team coaches. So it's something that we're rolling out this year, and by the time the 6th graders get to 8th grade, it's really going to be a seamless course and program, okay? Sure. So for those of you who aren't clear, AIS is what stands for Academic Intervention Services, okay, and that's something that'll be discussed at team meetings and meetings with you as families to determine if that's something your child may need that additional support. So we have a team meetings in the middle school where our guidance counselor and a member of our administrative team lead meetings with each of our teachers in that grade level, and we will make determinations on how we move forward to assist and guide with different, needs that students may have, okay? It's very individualized. So the Strategies for Success course that Mr. Arthur and myself have mentioned is a course that's designed to assist students in fostering skills which focus on flexibility, organization, planning, and time management. So what the lessons will truly focus on is, so these are some of the common themes that our 6th grade teachers, and in collaboration with our 5th grade teachers, came up with. Task initiation, time management, enhancing working memory, self-control, long-term and short-term planning, and self-monitoring. So we're hoping that this class will allow our students to build confidence and maximize success during this extremely pivotal period of intellectual and social development, okay? On Back to School Night, you'll be hearing much, much more about that course from Ms. Blanchard, so we're looking forward to rolling this course out and seeing how it goes this school year, okay? One of the things at the middle school that we really try to do is enhance student engagement and make learning fun. So what we decided to do as an administrative team is to show you in picture form, right, in visuals, exactly how we do that at the middle school, because we think pictures say a lot more than just, handing you a page with a bunch of words on it. So at the middle school, our students are extremely collaborative. So our middle school classes consistently engage in group work and learning that promotes students to work alongside their peers. So the collaboration in our classroom is directly aligned to our strategic goals through our district that focus around social emotional learning and contemporary teaching and learning. So that's something that from the district level we have now implemented at the middle school level. I mentioned earlier music as being an essential core element at our middle school. So each of our music programs, band, orchestra, and strings, put on 2 concerts per year, one in the winter, one in the spring, and our music department also offers numerous other opportunities for engagement. So we do offer clubs, so each of our music teachers offer one of their own clubs, whether it be advanced strings, jazz band, Roaring Tigers, etc. I do encourage you, and we'll talk about clubs in a little while, to get involved very early on in middle school. Our art program at TMS runs quarterly, so it's in that 10-week block. And art will run each of your years in middle school. So in 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, you will take art, okay? Each of the grade level years looks a little bit different, okay? And in addition to art, one of the things we did was our art teachers partnered with our PTA over the past 2 years, and they brought back our art show. And really what the whole purpose of that was is to really showcase how talented our middle school and high school students are in the area of art and give our families an opportunity to see their child's artwork on display. Each year, our TMS math department celebrates Pie Day with a celebration of pizza pie and apple pie for all of our students. So again, it's something fun, collaborative, that's done across all grade levels at our middle school. 2 years ago, we also brought back our overnight trips. So our overnight trips in 7th and 8th grade were reinstated, so it's something to look forward to. So in 7th grade, we've gone to Boston, Massachusetts for 2 days, and in the 8th grade, last year we went to Washington, D.C. for 3 days, 2 nights. Okay, these trips, what's so nice about them is it's really a combination of education and a little bit of leisure activity, and it's a real great bonding opportunity for our students. In the 6th grade, what we're planning for this upcoming year is something that we've started 2 years ago, was a trip to Boundless Adventure at the beginning of the school year. It's a ropes course, and it's really a team building opportunity for our students. It's something we're going to be doing early this fall, and we'll get those dates out to you. But in addition, in the spring, we did a trip to Chelsea Piers last spring, and it was really fun. It was a great time for our students, and it was kind of a nice celebration at the end of the year. So the next thing we're going to go into are our clubs. So our middle school offers roughly 17 to 18 clubs for our students to choose from. Our clubs vary, so some of our clubs do meet during lunch, and some meet after school, okay? The reason for that is with so many clubs, you don't want your child to have to necessarily pick and choose, right, if some clubs meet on a certain day. So some, again, are offered at lunch, some are offered after school. And for those clubs that do meet after school, we do offer a late bus on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays that your child can take home, okay? So it's a great opportunity for students to get involved with something that breaks down the 4 walls of the classroom, right? It goes beyond that. In addition, we do hold a club fair, okay, that you will see in the pictures right here. So our club fair will be held within the first few weeks of school, all right? And it's something that will be announced. We'll send a letter home to families. And we do hold the club fair during the lunch period, so every student can access that, can walk around, can get to meet their club advisor. The club advisor will typically have a classroom code visible, so you can go up, join the classroom either then or when you leave. You can write down the code, and then those classroom codes are then posted to our school website for you as families. If a student wants to join 3 weeks later, that's okay. They can join, It's a very fluid situation, our clubs, right? They could go in and out. Our advisors do take attendance, but it's something that, we want you to try something different, okay, at the middle school and try something new. As I mentioned earlier, one of the major points of pride at the middle school is our middle school debate team. Our debate team for the past 2 years has actually hosted an in-house tournament here, and it's really fascinating to see really some of these top schools from across the tri-state area come in, as well as us travel to their schools and their locations, and really seeing how successful our students are at competing against some of these top schools across the tri-state area. So it's something that I would definitely look into. Ms. Mosa, Mr. O'Connell, and Ms. Calasaco are the advisors for that team, okay? One of the other points of pride is our Science Olympiad team. It's an extremely popular club, but basically what the Science Olympiad team does is they prepare and compete each year in what's called the Lower Hudson Valley Divisional Tournament, and this year our team placed in almost every single area of the tournament, so we have high levels of success with our Science Olympiad program as well. Our spring musical is another wonderful event to get involved in. So last year, our spring musical was Annie, which received numerous Metro Awards in a variety of award areas. And additionally, one of the things that I'll mention is we are offering a fall musical specifically for middle school students this school year for the first time. So that was part of the district's budget this upcoming school year. So if your student is someone who may be interested in theater or even working behind the scenes, right, for a production, we are offering a fall production this year. So I would encourage your child to please be on the lookout for that. Information will be rolling out, but it's something that's new and interesting, and it's something for them to get a taste of what that might be like to participate in the spring. At our middle school, we also offer a National Junior Honor Society, all right? So this past school year, we inducted over 30 students into our National Junior Honor Society, and this basically is a year-long effort that's composed of volunteerism and other charitable collections that focus on maintaining academics as well, okay? This is something that information will really be forthcoming on, and it really takes place more beginning in 7th grade, but it is something that there's information on our website on the criteria, and it's really a nice ceremony and something that I do encourage every child to really strive for, is to be a member of our National Junior Honor Society. So lastly, I'm going to talk a little bit about getting involved and showing your school spirit, okay? So one of the things that our middle school GO has really taken on over the past few years, and I must give credit to Ms. Benedetti, who facilitates our GO, is a focus on volunteerism. And our GO has really partnered, especially at the middle school level, has partnered with the PTA to provide a wide area of volunteer activities for all of our students. So we're constantly looking for ways to enhance and engage in students in volunteerism, because it really builds and teaches personal growth and community building all at the same time. So this past year, our middle school GO took on opportunities partnering with Task, partnering with Bundles of Joy, and partnering with an event called REITs Across America, and they were all wonderful events, as you can see from the images up on the screen here. As I mentioned earlier, our students took on Boundless Adventure this past school year, and really what we love to see, especially at the beginning of the fall semester, is our students engaging in goal setting and team building activities. And this past year, we had students put their skills to the test, right, up at Boundless Adventure, and it's a really great way for our students to start off their 6th grade year. We also have different spirit weeks. So one of our spirit weeks you can see on the board here, getting involved in holiday spirit. So throughout the year, our GO does organize seasonal spirit weeks to keep our school spirit at a very high level. One of the last items that I will talk to you about is athletics. So just to be clear, so interscholastic athletics begin in 7th grade. So this is something that you'll be more familiar with for those of you who are first time to the middle school. We'll get into a little bit more involved with next year. But our athletics begin in 7th grade. Okay, this is another point of pride for our school district. We do have an extremely tradition-rich athletic program where you come to games and you'll see different alumni and people coming out to support our current athletes. Our school, we're governed by the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, and specifically we're part of what's called Section 1. Okay, as you can see on the screen, we offer 45 teams across 24 different sports. So we have an extremely robust program here, and we offer a tremendous amount. So if you look at vast majority of small and mid-sized schools around the county, we have an athletic program that is larger than many, okay? In addition to that, our programs, on my right, your left, you could see the modified programs that we offer at the school, but there are some programs that we do only offer at the varsity or JV level, and that's based on numbers, okay? And what that means is for students going or interested in a team that is not offered at the modified level, there's something called the athletic placement process. That's for a 7th or 8th grader that wants to participate on a JV or varsity level sport that we will have to go through with you, and that's something that we'll talk about on an individual level, all right? But just to know that these sports that are only offered at varsity and JV level, there's opportunities for your child to participate if that's their passion, okay? Over the last few years, we've seen significant accomplishments, okay, in our athletic programs. So we've been named a school of distinction. So this is the second year in a row that the New York State Public High School Athletic Association named us a school of distinction, which means that 100% of our varsity teams received the Scholar Athlete Team Award during their season, okay? There are only 8 other schools in the entire section that received this honor, and only 114 schools in the state that received this honor. So it is a pretty significant accomplishment, okay? Additionally, we've seen 11 Section 1 championships, 3 regional championships at the state level, and we saw a state championship last school year for our cheerleading program. So we are competing at beyond just the section. We're advancing to the state competition in numerous sports. Okay, here's an image of some of those teams and some of those programs that have achieved success. Lastly is homecoming. So our homecoming, if you want to mark your calendars, and you'll see the date later, is scheduled for Thursday through Saturday, September 26th through September 28th. So that'll be our homecoming weekend, that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Again, it's September 26th to September 28th. And we're really looking forward to continuing to bring our entire community together. Okay, this is not just an athletic event, homecoming. There are athletic games, but however, we also have a parade, we have a bonfire, we've implemented 2 years ago the Tuckahoe Day, all right, where it's more of a carnival-like atmosphere. So we're really looking forward to continuing that tradition and bringing this back to the community, all right? At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. DeBellis, but I thank you all for coming this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Anyone need a stretch break? I know it's been about 35 minutes. We're sitting still. Everyone's been great. Feel free to move around a little bit. Not too much, but Mr. C gets to talk about all the fun stuff. I get to talk about all the rules. But it's important, you know. Mr. Arthur had, mentioned that, not only are we administrators, but, some of us, I'm a parent as well. I'm entering my 22nd year in education. This is unique for me this year. We have our 6th grade orientation now, and then we have our 9th grade at 12 o'clock. My son is going into 9th grade this year. My daughter is going into 6th grade this year. So in another day or two, I'm going to be sitting where you are. So one of the thoughts is, what information do you want to know? There's going to be a lot of communication, a lot of information that's given. We know, obviously, that there are going to be more things, more questions. But not only do the students sometimes have anxiety, the parents do as well. And, there might be questions that you have. So we try to answer some of those questions now, make the first day of school a little bit easier, have an understanding, and then obviously it just makes it a little bit more comfortable. So I tried to answer some of those, but again, if you have a question at the end, please feel free. So student planner, I know that they spoke about that a little bit. I hate to admit it, I'm older where I still use a planner. I know a lot of the students are using digital, but you know what? It's very good, obviously, from a cognitive level in terms of writing and making that connection, so it is available to you. Obviously, it's not, I remember when I bought something, they said, one size fits all. I said, that doesn't fit me. Unfortunately, there is no one size that fits all. So something that works for one student might not work for another, okay? So it's about showing different options and then obviously making a choice what works best for you. And I think that's something that you're going to see throughout the rest of your middle school, high school, college, and even beyond. Sometimes you do things a little bit differently, and that's okay. But in the end, obviously, you're going to find what works for you, and that's what part of our job here is through the middle school years, is finding systems that work for you. How to stay organized, how to create friendships, how to maintain friendships. All of those pieces are really important, obviously, in addition to the academics. So lunch. The way it works during lunch is that the middle school will all have lunch together, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We have the 6th graders by themselves. They will start out at recess. They'll spend half the period, about 22 minutes or so, outside at recess, and then they'll switch over and then they'll go into the cafeteria. Our cafeteria is new. It's only about 2 years old. It's beautiful. It's set up like a college cafeteria. So obviously the environment that we're trying to create, we want to make sure that the students are able to relax, socialize, get off of the phones, unplug, and communicate with each other. That's important, and it's something that the research is showing more and more is hurting our students, that unfortunately they're on the phone and they're not making those interpersonal connections or developing those social skills. So this is something that we're going to be reinforcing, and we'll talk about that in a second. Hallways. It can get a little bit busy, obviously, because we have most of our 6th grade classes all in one area. So we ask that you be respectful as you're moving through the hallways. You stay to the right, okay? If you see someone trying to walk by, just slide over, okay? Starting to develop that respectfulness towards each other, okay? It all starts with little things that add up to be very important throughout the year, okay, and throughout your lives. So just please be mindful as we move through, because again, it can get a little bit crowded, but you have enough time. We'll talk about lockers in a second, but that's important too, all right, in terms of organization and how you're going to go throughout your day. Extracurricular participation, Mr. C went through it. It's robust. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities. It's a great way to socialize. It's a great way to create friendships. You know, they go on and on, obviously, about the social and emotional learning in addition to the academic learning. This is how you start to get some of that social emotional learning, okay? Try new things. Explore something. If you're not sure and you don't like it, then guess what? Try something else. I mean, there's not one thing. There are multiple things. So make sure you get involved, because it's really, really important. Lockers. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, lockers were the biggest thing. That's what everyone was all about. You know, 6th graders, it's still, I think, pretty important, but really it's a tool for organization. Okay, so we don't want you going to your locker every period. You have periods 1 through 4, you have lunch 5th period, and then you have periods 6 through 8. So one of the ways you need to learn to start to organize is taking your books for that morning class, okay, or the morning classes, I should say. So periods 1 through 4, grab what you need. This way you're not running back and forth, okay? Trying to get to the locker obviously can cause you to be late, cause you to kind of be a little bit disheveled. We want to stay organized, we want to stay focused, and it's just a much better way in terms of going through the day, okay? Everyone should have inside of their packet their locker assignment, so that tells you what your locker number is. We will have time built in at the end where if you want to set up the locker, or even if you want to just put a lock on it just for now, but you know, it does make it a little bit easier for that first day of school, okay? Visitors. I'm going to talk about this in a quick second, but one of the focuses over the years, unfortunately, has been school safety and safety procedures and protocols because of the different events throughout the country. So it's something that we take very, very seriously here. My first 13 years before I came to Tuckahoe, I was in New York City. I was involved with developing procedures that became uniform across New York City in terms of school safety, in terms of emergency preparedness. So I bring that knowledge. I also work very closely with our security consultant, who's called Altaris, as well as us having a school resource officer in the building and Eastchester PD that does a tremendous amount of collaboration with us in ensuring that we are up to speed and that we're doing everything correctly. Because, again, all of these things are very, very important, but making sure that the students are safe, in addition to our staff and visitors, that's probably the most important as far as I'm concerned. So we have to make sure that things are done correctly. That's why we ask for your cooperation when we say that, you know, we only have a single point of entry, okay, and not, you know, trying to access doors. Students, this is important. There's only one door that you will use for the most part when you are during the day coming in, and that's the main entrance. I'll talk about the arrival in a second, but once our day gets started, we have what's called a single point of entry, so that's really important. You never, okay, ever let anybody in through any door for any reason. I don't care if it's me, okay? I have a key, I can get in pretty much everywhere, so if I don't, make me walk around, okay? Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Do it respectfully, but do not let anybody in. Okay, we will meet with all grade levels, grades 6 through 12, over the first 2 days to go over more about our emergency preparedness. And also talk a little bit about code of conduct, talk about DASA. Okay, so this is not the first and only time that we're going to mention this. This is an ongoing conversation, because just like any athlete or any musician or anyone that has a talent or a skill, you don't do it once. It's something that you're doing consistently. Same thing goes with emergency preparedness. We have to do it consistently. We will communicate with families. We'll let them know about drills. We'll let them know if we needed to evacuate the building for some reason. Okay, so it's important for us to communicate that as well, and that's an expectation that you can absolutely have, because we will do that. One or two other things just on the front of social and emotional learning. Rethink is a program that we've been utilizing and incorporating over the last few years, and we'll continue to do that. Ms. DeFrancisco, Mr. Sullivan, our health teacher, Mr. Pizzuti, they will reinforce and they will go through various topics and lessons and make sure that everyone is on that same page, because again, academic development is very important, so is social emotional development, okay, especially at this age. Okay, there's a lot of things that are going to change over the next few years, but we're trying to help develop certain skills, right? We want confidence, we want advocacy, we want the ability to be compassionate towards others, okay? So these are all different things that we will work and teach and have various activities for the students. Cell phone and electronic expectations. This was sent out. It is on our website as well. I'm not going to read through it, but one of the big changes, one of the shifts that we've had this year is that cell phones will not be able to be used at all during the day. Okay, we're not saying you can't bring them in. We ask that you keep them in your bag, silence them, okay? But this is a shift, because last year we did allow students to use the cell phones during lunch. Not this year. Okay, that's changing. And again, the research is showing more and more, and I can tell you again, this is my 22nd year, even going back to when I started, as an administrator, 85% of the disciplinary incidents that we deal with are from a cell phone. Whether it's social media, okay, whether it's students posting things, students videoing others. So we will spend the first few weeks reminding students. Again, we're not looking to be punitive, but obviously we are asking for the cooperation and the support of the parents as well, because again, we want them to develop certain skills that they cannot get if they're buried in their phone like this. Okay, and it's important. So we want to try to make sure that we're developing a well-rounded scholar, as opposed to someone that just, is off on their own in their phone. Okay, so we're asking, but again, feel free to read through that. If you have questions, you'll let us know. Obviously, expectations are in there, or, what would be the progressive consequence. But again, we're hoping we don't even get to that point. Student arrival. This is very important for a safety perspective. So students can arrive 2 places. They can arrive if they're taking the bus through our main entrance. Some of our buses start to arrive 7:05, and then obviously they will arrive up to about 7:40. Again, things happen, traffic down in the village, all different issues can pop up, so sometimes they get delayed. So what we are asking is, if you are dropping your child off, we ask that you please drop on Middle Road, okay? Do not drop them off on Siwanoy before 7:42. And the reason why is that all of the buses are pulling up, students are getting out, okay? And obviously, if you're dropping them off on the opposite side and, a bus is moving, obviously it gets dangerous, okay? And big buses, sometimes smaller students, it's hard to see them, okay? So we want to make sure everyone is safe, so we ask that you please adhere to this. After 7:42, which is when we start our day, okay, we will shut that entrance on Middle Road. We will have a staff member or 2 that will be at that entrance. So obviously, as students are coming in, they're able to recognize, or they're able to assist them if there's anything that they need. Okay, so that door will not be left without a person there. There will be a staff member there. But once that time hits at 7:42, we ask then you can use Siwanoy to drop them off. Okay, and if possible, please drop them off so that the right side, the passenger side, is on the curb of the front entrance, as opposed to opposite. Now they have to cross over, okay? And we want to try to make sure that everyone's safe. Not a good way to start the day. all right? Student attendance. Research has shown forever that student attendance is critically important. It's important for success. It's important as they start to get older. It's directly linked to standardized tests, SATs, ACTs, AP exams. Obviously, the higher attendance you have, the more student success you have. And it's just unfortunately, I mean, it makes sense, right? It's common sense. But you have a certain amount of absences that before you hit 18 absences, okay, after that you become what's called chronically absent, and that is labeled through New York State, okay? You get identified, so we have different procedures in place that we will start to notify, whether it be a letter, okay, whether it be a phone call, whether it be a request for a parent meeting. We understand students get sick. We understand that there are family situations, but it's like a savings account, right? Save those absences for when you really need them, okay? Don't, you know, again, all it takes is 2 days per month, and you're going to be labeled as chronically absent. And this has been an initiative throughout the district for probably 2 or 3 years now, and we want to continue to have great attendance because obviously, you know, the better attendance, the more successful you're going to be, okay? So very important. Couple things, if your child is going to be absent, we ask that you email us. Again, it's in your packet, so I won't read through all of it, but it's also important to provide us with documentation, okay? Power School is the student management system that we use. Parents have access. You can see if your child is absent, okay? And we get a number of calls. That's Ms. Tierney, by the way. Ms. Tierney is our attendance secretary. So she is the person on the other end of the phone that you're going to end up speaking to if you call in, okay? But again, we will label absences based off of what's the reason, okay? Vacations, illegal absence. You know, certain things, illness, death in the family, emergencies, things like that, that would be considered a legal absence, okay, but it still goes towards that 18. So even if, let's say, you know, your child was sick for 5 days a couple of times in a row, chances are you're still going to receive some letters or some communication from us because, again, we're trying to make sure that you're aware, and then obviously just ask that, you know, we try to make sure we get the students here every day as much as possible. Early sign out, this is important. So everyone will identify, obviously, parent, guardian, or some type of an emergency contact, okay? We cannot release your child to anyone other than a parent, a guardian, or an emergency contact. So if there's someone that you want to be able to pick your child up, you have to identify that, okay? And you have to let us know, all right? You need to bring identification. Again, we're a small district. That's one of the beauties, I think, of being a small district is we get to know our parents very personally. So again, if we know you, then obviously we're probably not going to ask you for your identification. But in the beginning, we might not because this might be your first child coming into middle school, and we're going to check identification. So please make sure you have it on you. If there's someone, an emergency contact, you know, a friend, a neighbor, you know, relative, ask them to have their identification on them because, again, we need to check that. If you come into the building, you have a meeting, we use a system that's called Raptor, okay? And Raptor is a screening system. So it's run through a number of national and international databases, obviously, to identify if there were a restriction and someone is not permitted to be inside of a school, okay? So we ask that, you know, you cooperate. You know, the people that are at the front are doing their job. Several of our security monitors are retired law enforcement. That was something that we specifically looked for when we were hiring. So, you know, between NYPD, Mamaroneck PD, Eastchester PD, you know, that's something that's important. But obviously they needed to also have the ability to work with the students. So that's why they're here and that's why they're helping us to keep everyone safe. Building layout, like we mentioned, most of the classes for 6th grade are on the first floor. You'll do a quick tour and get to see a little bit. Unfortunately, because we are in the process of getting ready for school, it's coming up quickly, so there might be an area that's not accessible, but we'll try to make sure that everything is pointed out. Again, it's about making you comfortable so when you walk in here on the 3rd, that you're ready to go and you have that confidence and you know where you're going. Mrs. C mentioned it, I'll reinforce it. We will be out, I think, between Mr. Arthur, Mr. C, myself, we are out every period, okay? And we want to make sure if you have a question, ask us, okay? Don't be afraid to ask a student, okay? If you're looking for something, we'll usually be able to tell you. You're kind of looking at the schedule. Within a week or so, I think that you're all going to know exactly where you're going, all right? So don't worry, that will come very, very quickly. All right, I'm going to ask Mr. C to come back up to talk a little bit about health office. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for coming.
So last school year, as Mr. Arthur mentioned, we did hire a new school nurse, Nurse Jane. Okay, her email is on one of the first few slides of the presentation that you all have copies of in your package. The nurse has updated our website, so please be sure any health-related form that you need can be found on the nurse/health information website. As you can see up here, it's a link right on the school or the district webpage. Okay. Additionally, one of the main items that's really important is to have open lines of communication between our families and the school nurse. So Nurse Jane is extremely accessible, and she's really committed to providing your child with care, and she's proactive. She will sit in meetings from time to time with specific parents if there's a specific medical need that needs to be addressed. But as I bolded on this slide, the school-parent partnership is vital with our school nurse. So we ask that you please communicate any important information about your child's medical condition and/or medications to the school nurse. In addition, if your child does require medication administered during the school day, we do need to have an order from a licensed prescriber, and the nurse will go through all that with you if you're someone that has that need. And if there's any form of injury, the one thing that I could say is sometimes students tend to, if they get hurt during a certain period of time or something of that nature, they tend to reach out to the parent, and then the parent arrives to the school and we don't know, what necessarily happened. So what we ask for the students to do or anyone to do is please refer anything to the school nurse, right? If something happened during the school day, please be sure the nurse knows so that we can really put an appropriate action plan in place. And a lot of times injuries happen outside of school. So if they're at a sport or something of that nature, if an accident happens, please don't just send the child back in on crutches or in a walking boot or something of that nature without having them go to the school nurse first, because what we do is we'll sit down with the school nurse and we'll create what's called an action plan, and that action plan will then be communicated to all of the teachers, all of our security monitors in the hallways, so everyone will be aware of what we need to do to help this child, whether it's use of an elevator, a buddy, ability to leave class a few minutes early to get to the next place without a crowd in the hallway. So we do all of those things and we put those accommodations in place. So please do not hesitate to reach out to Nurse Jane for as frequently as needed, okay? The last item is student and parent portal, all right? So we do have student and parent portal. It's something that it's a tool for parents to utilize to just know what, if your child's up to date on their assignments, what their grades look like. You should have a login. If you do not have a login, you could contact our guidance office. Ms. Nicoletos is extremely helpful with that, and if she can't figure it out with you, she will elevate it to our Director of Curriculum and Instruction and Technology, Dr. Keogh. Okay, so please do not hesitate to reach out about Student Parent Portal. We're always happy to help. Okay. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Arthur to go over some upcoming important dates and to close us out before we begin our student panel. Thank you.
As you can see, there's a lot of effort and time that went into putting these slides together. There was a lot of thought. Before I go any further, I just want to really thank Ms. Tierney. Ms. Tierney has spent countless hours making copies, putting the folders together. She's really done an outstanding job, and I just want to thank her on behalf of our leadership team for all that she's done. As well as Ms. Pinto. So I just want to thank them for all they have done. I just want to add a couple of things to what have already been said. If your child is not feeling well, their first contact should be the nurse, not to call you. The nurse will contact you. What happens sometimes, a child may go to the guidance office, call you, you come pick the child up, and we have no way of knowing anything that happens. And we're the kind of a leadership team that if your child leaves, something happening, not feeling well, we've had some students who've had some situations, may have had to leave by ambulance, we're calling that same evening to find out how your child is doing. We're parents, all right? They're our children, okay? So that's the kind of leadership team we are. So please, if your child is sick, they have to be picked up, they have to go to the nurse so that we know. The other thing I wanted to mention is to students, please do not share lockers. Do not share. Your locker is assigned to you. Do not share lockers, please. Okay? If there's ever an issue with a locker, we have amazing security monitors and our amazing administrative team. We're always out there helping. And before I go on just to the important dates, you know, it is refreshing. Having worked over 20 plus years in education, we have an awesome teaching staff. We do. You know, our teachers go above and beyond to support our children. They really get to know them very, very well. Some of you, again, it's not your first time coming to Tuckahoe Middle High School, so you know what I'm talking about. So our teachers really go above and beyond, and not just our teachers, security, our health food services, our secretaries, they really take the time. Our custodians, I mean, they go to games. It's really a family affair. And it's, again, I've never seen anything like this, having worked in several school districts. So this is a really special place where people really do care about your child's growth, right? We see them as scholars, and we are making sure we do everything possible so they can achieve that goal. So again, some important dates. I'm not going to read through all. I'm going to just point out two in particular to give some attention to. First, progress report, October 8th. So it's going to come by very quickly, right? Generally, you have the 10 weeks of marking period, and in between each marking period or quarter, you have progress reports. So it's usually 4 to 5 weeks. So that's how it works. 40 weeks in a school year, okay? So want to give some attention to that. If there's some academic concerns, reach out to your child's teacher. You know, Ms. DeFrancesco, who I'm going to introduce shortly when she comes in, she is the conduit between parents and teachers, right? So if there's a need, you want to meet with the teachers, reach out to the school counselor. She plays a pivotal role. There may be some kind of a conflict between your child and another student. Maybe something happened in the community. Reach out to the school counselor, okay? It's very important that you reach out to us so we can either do some kind of a mediation. This is a time of growth and exploration. It happens. It happens. So let us help facilitate a conversation, right? And I'm going to be open and honest. Sometimes parents have conflict with each other, all right? Keep the kids out of it. We've dealt with a lot of different issues. So if there are things that you want us to know, we get directly involved to make sure that, again, our students can achieve success. So again, here are the important dates. And Boundless Adventure, that's another date to pay attention to, the October 25th. So Ms. Benedetti, who does an amazing job, we're lucky to have her, will be sending out information on that. Extra help. Each teacher provides an hour of extra help each week. We encourage students to take advantage of this. This is not to wait till you're having a difficult assignment, right? You go to extra help to continue to show that you are interested in doing extremely well. Okay? As a principal, it's always gratifying for me to see students who are A students still going to extra help. All right? So take advantage of extra help. It goes a long way, and it's required for all teachers to provide a session a week. So as I close, this is a quote that's near and dear to my heart. I want you to think of, there's a lot that has been said today, but I want you to think about this quote. Do something for yourself today that your future self will thank you for. I want you to pause and think about that for a minute. Do something, young men sitting in the back, I want you to think about it. Do something for yourself today that your future self will thank you for. The reason why I point to this quote is because Mr. Calaswino touched on a few things, such as in the 7th grade, we established what's called an algebra readiness class. It's not open to all students, but students who really challenge themselves and achieve excellence. In addition, in the 8th grade, we have three high school classes, one of which is our algebra class, our second is our living environment, and then third, Spanish. So students start Spanish, or I should say a world language, because we have Spanish and Italian. They start in the 7th grade, and in 8th grade, they complete the full year of world language. So you have the opportunity of earning 3 high school credits by the end of 8th grade. You need 22 to graduate from high school. You can earn 3. It matters. So I want to bring back to that quote. The things you do now, the habits you establish, the decisions you make, working hard, would help you achieve great success. Everyone is not invited to those high school courses, especially living environment and algebra, okay? So we want you to establish good habits now. We're preparing you not just for high school, we're preparing you for college. So the decisions you make, what decisions we make now will determine your future. As I close, one of the initiatives that we're launching that's not on the board, from 3rd grade to 12th grade, we're implementing a new vocabulary program. One that is really designed to help our students be prepared to take the SAT, ACTs, or what have you. There's a lot of curriculum work that the teachers have been engaged in throughout the year. Lastly, I would share, in our English department, starting at the high school, we are working towards the standards of the SAT, looking at all the skills that students need to do well on the SATs, ACT. We've taken that information, brought it into our curriculum, and pushing it down right to the 6th grade. So by the time your scholar is in high school, they're ready to take multiple AP courses, which are college-level courses, which is what colleges want to see. They want to see 3 things matter for college. I know they're in the 6th grade, but we got to make sure they're ready and know what they're aiming for. 3 things college look for: courses you take, how well you do, and your SAT. 75% of a college decision is made on that, those 3 things, okay? We just had a college workshop where we had 3 colleges that came in and worked with our seniors over the summer. October 1st, we're taking 50 high school students to Boston University, Boston College, Northeastern. So there's a lot that's going on. Why am I sharing this with you? Because you're in the 6th grade. I want to make sure by when you're in the 8th grade, you plan to keep your child here. We're doing some amazing things at the high school, right? So I want to make sure you know the newsletter that you're going to get weekly. You're going to find out information about what's going on in the high school. Why? Again, I want you to hear, we want you to hear the amazing things that we're doing at the high school, so you see being here at the high school is the right place to be. So without any further ado, we're going to call up our panel. I do want to share, we had a 3rd component to this, which was Dr. Keogh. He was pulled away. He's going to present at our back-to-school night on the technology component, but I will share this. Every student receives a Chromebook. We're a one-to-one district. We want to make sure the students understand that they're responsible for it. One of the things that's going to be new this year, if a student damages the device, they're going to have to pay for it. Now, again, if it drops, accident, we work through that. But sometimes some students are not always thinking and making right decisions, playing it, tossing it to a friend. So we want students to be aware of that. Your Chromebook, it is your responsibility to take care of. I also want to share with parents, and this is critical. Students, please listen to this, because this is very important. As far as technology, everything you type, everything you search on any of our devices, we get an alert. Let me say it again. Anything you type, anything you search using any of our devices, we get an alert. And the 3 of us, including with our guidance team, we check to see if it's related to an assignment, and if it's not, we pull you down to our office, because we want to know what were you searching, why were you searching, and obviously we notify parents. There have been students who've made some poor decisions, and there were consequences for their actions. So be very mindful of what you type, what you search, because sometimes curiosity can get the best of us. So parents, I want to emphasize to you to please have that conversation. There's certain words that trigger this alert, and it's district-wide, not just here at the Millen High School. So if you have a child that's elementary, same thing applies, all right? Before I introduce the student, I just want to acknowledge, I just saw here, Ms. Wonos. Please stand to be recognized. She's our PTA president. Does an amazing job. We're so fortunate to have such an amazing PTA. Students, we hope that you've read this book. If you have not read the book, still a few days left before school starts. If you don't have a book, which you should have received one from your 5th grade teacher, please let one of us know. We do have some extras. I want to thank the PTA, Ms. Wonos, who embraced the idea of a community read. These books were purchased by the PTA. So everyone, all the teachers in the middle school, the leadership team, we all have read this book, and there'll be some activities planned when students start school. So does anyone not have this book? Okay, we're doing well. All right. All right. It's a great book. Can I see the sheet for a minute? So as I indicated, these scholars here, and they are scholars, were sitting where you were last year, some of them. And now they're on stage to greet you, talk to you, share with you a little bit about their experiences, right? So again, on stage, I'm actually doing it a little differently. I'm gonna have you introduce yourself and say what grade you're in, right? Say your first and last name, and tell us one thing that you find that's special about our school. Mr. Benedetti, why don't you start us off?
I'm Lucas Benedetti, and I'm in 6th grade. I think that it's cool that we have like a lot of special like activities like sports and different like clubs that we can all do. Kids are nice here.
I'm AJ Vukovici, and I'm in 7th grade, and it's very special to the school. That we have the amount of stuff that we have here, like extra help, clubs, and the sports.
I'm Lee McLaughlin. I'm going to 8th grade, and some of the things I think that are great about here is the teachers are very nice, and they help you with a lot of resources for learning, and I also love the after-school sports.
My name is Maya Trinidad. I'm going into 8th grade. One thing I find really special about Tuckahoe Middle School is how welcoming everybody is to everybody.
Hi, my name is Alexa Wade. I'm going into 8th grade, and one thing I find very special about Tuckahoe is that everyone is nice, and the classes are very well put together, and the teachers are very helpful.
Okay, so what we did was we tried to put together questions that, 6th graders may want to know or things that you may want to ask. So the second question that's going to go to Alexa, knowing what you know now, if you could travel back to your 6th grade year, what advice would you give yourself?
If I were to give my 6th grade self advice, I would tell myself a couple of things. First, I would tell myself to memorize my schedule. This was a very important piece since it would help me find a specific way to my classes and help me get there on time. Another piece of advice that I would give myself would be to stay organized. Staying organized would allow me to be more prepared and help me stay on top of things more.
This next question will go to Lucas. Tell us about a memorable experience you had at TMS so far.
A memorable experience I had at middle school was in the start of middle school, like when we were in Mr. Moore's class, and we did a snowball game where we would write stuff on a piece of paper and crumple it up and throw it around the room and introduce ourselves like that.
Memorable experience I had at Tuckahoe Middle School was in 7th grade. We got to go on a Boston trip, which we stayed overnight in a hotel with our friends, and we got to see a lot of cool places like Fenway Park, the Science Museum, and a lot more cool things.
How do you balance your academic and other responsibilities? AJ?
I balance my academics and other responsibilities by using my time wisely. I would do academics first and then worry about sports later. Taking advantage of extra help will help a lot. Also, checking Google Classroom when you get home.
What was the most challenging part of your 6th grade year, and how did you overcome it? Maya?
The most
challenging part of 6th grade was balancing schoolwork and extracurricular activities, and I overcame it by making sure to establish a schedule for myself to keep everything organized.
Great. Liam?
A big challenge in 6th grade was the difference in work from 5th grade and Cottle. Specifically, a big increase in homework. So I would just set aside time to make sure you have enough time to do homework every day and go to extra help, which is very helpful.
What advice would you give to a new student, someone who didn't attend Cottle Elementary School? Alexa?
To a student who didn't go to Cottle, I would recommend that you try to be friendly with everyone and get to know your teachers. Being friendly with everyone will help you become friends with people. Also, going to clubs and joining sports when you're older will help you too.
Good. Lucas?
Some advice that I would give to a new student is I would tell a new student that the kids here at middle school are nice and they should probably join a club or a sport to help make friends.
Share with us a decision you made about school which you are most proud of. Maya?
One decision that I'm most proud of during the 6th grade year was joining clubs to make sure I would put myself out there, which is really important during your 6th grade year.
Lucas?
I started doing my long-term assignments earlier, so all the work wouldn't pile up, and I want to end up doing it last minute.
Great. All right, the last question that I'll ask will go to all of the panelists. So we'll start down with Lucas and we'll work backwards to Alexa. What club, sport, or extracurricular activity have you participated in or do you plan to participate in this upcoming school year?
I'm planning to participate in football, wrestling, and lacrosse.
Excellent. AJ?
I participated in Roaring Tigers in our club as my club. I had a great time because we did a bunch of activities. I look forward to playing modified sports like football, baseball, and basketball, and joining other clubs.
Excellent. Liam?
In 6th grade, I did Science Olympiad, which was fun. We got to research and build a bunch of things. I built a wheeled vehicle, which was powered by rubber bands. That was really cool. We got to compete in the competition. And I also played basketball and soccer, and I'm looking forward to the lacrosse team this year.
Maya?
Some clubs and extracurricular activities that I've participated in are Science Olympiad, GO, National Junior Honor Society, and PTA Dance. And I will continue to participate in all of them this year, and I will start theater next year.
Excellent.
While I was in 7th grade last year, I started playing modified soccer during the fall and modified softball during the spring. Both teams had very encouraging coaches and taught everyone important skills.
If we could please give a round of applause for our panelists. So our panelists took a lot of time, out of their summer coming in to meet with me to prepare for today. So I truly want to thank each of you for taking time out of your summer and coming in and helping and encouraging our incoming 6th graders who you'll be seeing in the fall, right, in the hallways. Our panelists will also be serving as tour guides today, okay? So we'll be breaking up into small groups, and each of our tour guides will be assigned a small group to lead you around the building, okay? I'll turn it back over to Mr. Arthur.
So I just want to quickly introduce, and we're going to wrap this up. It's been over an hour and 15 minutes. So this is Mr. Sullivan. We asked him to come on up, say a couple of words, followed by Ms. DeFrancesco, our school counselor.
So welcome to middle school. So what I'm about to say may be a little controversial. I'm kidding. What I'm going to say is be aware of the word comfortable, right? We all like to be comfortable. It's a lovely word, and we like to be comfortable. But keep in mind, a lot of the great things that you're going to do here are going to involve you being a little uncomfortable, right? When we talk about being uncomfortable, it's stepping outside of your comfort zone, what you're used to. What these lovely young people were talking about, joining clubs, that might involve you stepping outside of your comfort zone. Meeting a new friend, you might have to step outside of your comfort zone. So I guess the one piece of advice is, well, two things is welcome, but the other thing is be willing to be uncomfortable for a little bit. It's okay. You'll survive it. It'll make you stronger. It'll put you in new situations. Try something new. This is an exciting time. You're going to change by leaps and bounds during your time here, and that's what I love seeing. But be willing to be a little uncomfortable. It'll help you. Thank you, and welcome.
Mr. Sullivan has been in the building for quite some years. And again, we thank him for all the work that he's done. Ms. DeFrancesco.
Welcome to middle school. I think it's going to be a great 3 years. I'm excited for those of you who've had kids here to return, and I'm excited to meet all the new students. I share an office with Mr. Solivan, so you can find us. We're on the first floor. We're never more than 5 feet away from anywhere that the kids need to be. I do want to let you know, I wasn't sure what was in the presentation, but I do want to let you know that we meet with the 6th grade teachers on a regular basis. So you're going to get phone calls from us that say, wow, your kid's doing great. This is awesome. And you're going to get phone calls that say, oh my God, we need to talk about something, we might have a concern. And I expect and want you to do the same. I want you to feel comfortable. Call us up. If one of your kids comes home and says, I don't understand, I'm a little stressed out, I'm confused, I'm concerned, just call us. That's what we're here for. We're here to work through it so that your kids can have a great experience in 6th grade and get ready to go to 7th and 8th grade and then on to high school. So welcome, and I look forward to a really great year.
Thank you, Ms. D.